us in the Movieland spotlight this month, we have Milo Cawthorne, an actor from Auckland, New Zealand, known from his appearances in Deathgasm, Blood Punch, Guns Akimbo, and as Ziggy in Power Rangers RPM. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm a big fan of your work, buddy.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate it so much. First of all, I just want to know a little bit about how you got started in the film industry and who inspired you.
I loved Jim Carrey when I was a child. I would regularly watch, I think I first saw Pet Detective 2. That was a big inspiration for me. But just generally, like, I had a dress-up box in my house. That just, for some reason, just loved that. My brother would, like, dress me up. He had, like, foam, and I had, like, a tight skivvy, and he'd dress me up so I looked like I had muscles. And so I'd walk around the house just, like, with muscles. I would have been, like, 5 or 6 or something. And for some reason, just loved it. So then always kind of knew that was something that I liked. And then I was at school, I was like 11, and they were like, hey, we're doing drama classes at lunchtimes, because we didn't have a drama period that we could go to. So they were like, we're just doing drama classes for a local drama, like, youth program. So I joined that and did a few shows with them, and then got an agent from there with a few people from there, and then have just been auditioning and keeping my head above water since the age of 13.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you did a few kids' TV shows to get started. Was that right?
Yeah, so I was always playing like the, I guess, nerdy, like, you know, Q from James Bond, like the like the mad, eccentric inventor guy. So I did a couple of those. One was Secret Agent Men, one was Pet Detectives, and those were so much fun. And they, like, take you out of school. So I was like 14, 15, got to leave school for 3 or 4 months. And, like, you know, my family's pretty poor. Nobody has, like, incredible careers. Like, my parents aren't lawyers or anything. So at one point I was earning, like, I wasn't even earning that much. I was earning like maybe $900 to $1,000 a week when I was 15. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy money. But I was out earning my whole family combined, like, because they just, you know, nobody has crazy careers. So it was kind of a quite an intoxicating thing for a child. And so I was like, wow, this acting thing is like, this is it. Like, come on. Like, and looking back at it, like, it's not a huge amount of money, but at the time it was just like, whoa, this is nuts.
I know, absolutely. As a kid, I think $2 went a long way for me back in the 90s. I was like, hell yeah, ghost drops everywhere.
Yeah.
Just recently discovered you were in the Power Rangers RPM TV show. You played a new version of the Green Ranger, aka Ziggy Grover. How did that role came about?
That was, like, I think maybe my second audition for Power Rangers. I had an audition ages ago, and I didn't even know it was for one of the Rangers when I first did. I thought it was like one of the side characters. And really the whole reason that I got that job was because of the producer, Eddie Gazelian, who's also the writer of that season, who's become a friend of mine, because it was quite unusual for them to hire as many Kiwis and Aussies as they did that season. And it was mainly because Eddie was like, show me all the tapes. Like, don't just show me your top 3 picks or whatever to the casting director. And so he had to, like, convince the casting director to show him all the tapes, and he was just watching tapes and just being like, this is interesting. And he was like, wow, there's lots of great actors in New Zealand, and people kind of told him, like, New Zealand, there's not a lot of good talent, man. So he was pleasantly surprised, and he saw my tape and he was like, this is great. It's kind of what he had in mind for the role. And yeah, that was an incredibly, like, super fun role. Sometimes with roles, you're like, you're squeezing yourself into them and it's like a stretch. But with Ziggy, it just felt quite natural for me, like just a natural fit, how I initially, like, read a scene and a character. And so that was just a joy, man. That role was so fun. It was like 6 months, made some great friends, met my wife, who we've since divorced, but my first wife. And yeah, it was a crazy, great time.
I'm sorry to hear about the ups and downs there, but yeah, experiences are experiences. I guess it's definitely more than time now. You're a different person, but that's definitely sound like you still would have had a great experience there.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was it filling the shoes of the late Jason David Frank being a Green Ranger though? Was that a bounce of pressure at all, or?
Because Power Rangers got cancelled in New Zealand in, I want to say early, it was like 97. So when I was a kid, I was really into Power Rangers when I was like 6 or 5 or whatever. And I was in Australia, actually. I remember watching it in Australia with my cousins, and they were watching Power Rangers. And I was like, Power Rangers is awesome. We don't have this in New Zealand. This is so sick. And then it got cancelled, so I kind of went out of my mind. But I remembered one of my strongest memories is of Jason David Frank, because he was my favorite Ranger. My character was so different to his, but there is a little something about being the Green Ranger. There's like a little like boyhood like dream that's kind of like, whoa, that's pretty nuts that you got to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely new, but you're still holding like, the heavyweight title of the Power Rangers there, in my opinion, well, him transforming to the White Ranger later, but the green with evil kind of thing was like such an iconic thing of my childhood when he came along. Like Power Rangers really got that more better. Like, I don't know if you were a Power Ranger fan prior to Jason David Frank joining the cast, but once he joined, like that's when it really got interesting. And of course, the first Power Rangers movie. But yeah, that was going to be my next question. Were you a fan of the Power Rangers before the role? So I guess you're off and on, or?
Yeah, I remember I watched the film in the cinemas, and I remember being like, "Hey, that's Sydney. I've been there, man." Like, and
Yeah.
I dug it, but I didn't keep up with the continuing Disney series, and I kind of knew they were happening because it was like I knew some people had been on it, and like, but I didn't really know much about it. Like it was, as I say, not on TV here, so it's kind of quiet. So
Right.
that was like a shock.
You took my fun fact away that the movie was filmed in Sydney. I actually only just recently found that out because of the one of the towers that's in the role. I see it in some kind of clip recently. I'm like, hey, that tower that Ivan News swings around. I'm like, oh, I've seen that. Yeah, that's great. Oh, and the Opera House is in there too, I believe. But skating around the Opera House, I'm pretty sure they are actually. So I probably did know this a long time ago. I just forgot and re-remembered and went, hey.
Yeah, the tower is what did it for me. I think, is it the AMG tower?
Yeah, I'm not sure the name of it, but it's definitely a pretty iconic pointy building thing. Yeah. But I was definitely a big fan of the Rangers in '95 and loved the first movie. But after the movie, I think for some reason I just kind of lost track and tuned out. I don't know why. So discovering the RPM show, I think I've checked out a couple of the other ones, but I definitely didn't see RPM until this week. And off the bat, like for anyone new checking it out, it definitely has the same atmosphere as the originals. I gotta say, I felt a little awkward for the first 5 minutes, but as soon as your character popped on screen, I'm like, this works. Like you definitely were the cherry and the thing making it work. I started to feel like you were gonna pop out of the Dodge Charger at the start, and I'm like, I let down when you didn't. I'm like, oh come on, where is he gonna pop out? And then when you came out, like, yeah, this really works. So they definitely hit the gold when they casted you on the role for sure.
Yeah, it was. I went to recently. Power Morphicon in LA for the first time, which is just the full Power Rangers convention, and like the depth and like the so many seasons of that show, and some people have seen every one of them multiple times, and it's just like, whoa, like that is kind of mind bending, and also like you were saying for yourself and myself, like kind of falling off like after whatever, the movie or whatever, and they're not keeping up. But some people, like, it's their thing, man. And they're just kept watching year after year after year. And they like, yeah. And I think there's something kind of remarkable about same with like the original Japanese show that they take all the footage from. It's been going even longer, I think. But there is something, you have to marvel at a franchise that can just continue to go and go and go.
Yeah, it definitely hits me in the feels when I still see it. Like it's something from my childhood, but nothing I could really connect with now besides, Jason David Frank definitely was a big inspiration for me growing up. And him passing away is definitely sad. And but yeah, he recently finished a role just before that happened called The Legend of the White Dragon. So yeah, looking forward to see what he left behind with that one.
Oh, is that yet to be released?
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. I think they're doing a lot of post-production on that one, so got to keep up looking for that one. The Bat and the Sun group putting that one together. I don't know if you're familiar with that group. Nah, they do a lot of those superhero beatdowns on YouTube. Like they did one with Jason David Frank as the White Power Ranger versus Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. It's like really well done. You have to check it out.
Holy crap! I'm gonna put it into my library.
Yeah. One last thing about Power Rangers RPM. I've started to binge watch it the other day and got 2 episodes down. But I can't help but feel like it's Fast and the Furious meets Power Rangers. Like they got tires around their legs and stuff. What's going on?
Dude, yeah, we all like, our Zords are all like cars with big eye. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good approximation. Fast and the Furious meet. Wait, what was the other thing you said? Fast and the Furious meets
Power Rangers. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Very simple. I mean, they did transform in the past. I guess they were kind of more like, I don't remember. They're just animals in the original one, weren't they?
Yeah, animals, dinosaurs. Triceratops, power of ball. Yeah, I like the cars thing, and there was always like interesting cars on set and stuff, and there was cool car wrangling. I wonder how much that would change a series if your thing is like, because I know there was like Ninja Storm and like animal ones. I wonder how much that would affect the tone of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to revisit the originals to even complain about such things. So I'm leaving it what it is, and I was enjoying it. So there's no complaints at all. I'm actually going to finish binge watching the season when I get around to it. But yeah, hats off to that role. Really enjoyed it, and it seemed like your biggest start of a kickoff for your career there.
It was definitely the biggest thing I'd done, and maybe still have. I don't know. It depends. Depends how you quantify. But yeah, for sure, at the time, I was like 19. I was like, this is it. Stuff.
Well, can I make you morph right now? Morph time, give a little speech? Or am I asking too much?
I've never done it sitting down. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of pot plants around. Okay. 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 Let me get the mic. Okay. Ready? RPM. Get in gear.
Thank you so much. Love that. All right, your first major film role was in the 2013 horror thriller Blood Punch, directed by Madeleine Paxton in a debut. This film won several awards, and you were also nominated for Best Actor a couple of times. Like, this is such a major accomplishment for your first role, buddy. Starting with a bang. Please, tell me a little bit about that role.
So Madeleine Paxton is Eddie Gazillion's wife. And she wrote some episodes of that Power Ranger season. We got on so well with them. Him and Maddie were just so down to earth, so lovely, and we just got on really well. And I loved his writing for Power Rangers. So we kept in touch. We visited them in America when we went around on a trip. And then he messaged us and said, like, hey, I've written this film. We would love you guys to be in it. Because it was me, Liv, who was Dr. K, and Ari, who was the Blue Ranger. And we were like, oh my God, this is insane. What a crazy good opportunity. So we shot some tester footage for them to try and get more funding. In the end, it was pretty much all self-funded by them. And for Eddie and Maddie, it was like, they have been working at Disney and they're cartoon writers mainly. And they had constantly been working on other people's ideas and fleshing out other people's scripts and stories. And they would say it would be really cool for us to do something just for ourselves that we want to do and get a taste of what it's like to direct and see something from the ground up. So yeah, that was kind of it felt kind of unreal. Like reading that email felt like this is amazing and doesn't happen. So that led to us getting a 2-year visa. So we went to live in LA for a couple of years. And so we went and shot the film and then stayed on afterwards. And we went to a couple of festivals with it. Yeah, that was amazing. And it was so cool to have like a cast of people that I knew and had worked with before. And same with Eddie and Maddie. And yeah, it's very close to my heart, that film, because of all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I would love to do more stuff with them, but I think it was such a huge endeavor. Like Eddie pretty much edited the film as well as writing and producing, and he kind of helped Madeleine with the directing. So it was just a huge effort.
Yeah. Well, I knew there was another Power Ranger in the film, but you're saying the Blue Ranger was he the bully for the other boyfriend?
Yeah, he's the other boyfriend. Top.
3 Power Rangers in this movie now. Wow. I knew those two at the moment. I get that because you're married, etc. So that continued. But 3 Power Rangers kicking the shit out of each other. Oh, wow, that's amazing. But yeah, I get it. Experience and collaboration with films, and that's also the fun of things. Like working with someone you're comfortable with, you get better at working together, and you know your possibilities and stuff. So
yeah, 100%. And I think like there's a great, I totally forgot his name, but he's a director. He wrote and directed Thunder Road, and he's made a lot of short films. But he was saying like a lot of people think the dream is to get a phone call from a big producer, and they're like, "We got this great movie for you, and you're gonna we got all these amazing crew that you've never met, but they're the best at what they do." And he's like, "That's not the dream. The dream is to like have a group of friends that you've worked with before, and you all like come up together, and you know how each other works." And that's kind of what Blood Punch was. It was like the working relationship there, and like it felt like we were all like back together and working on something again. It was really satisfying.
Yeah, you can really tell that bond there as well. Obviously, the awkwardness isn't there of working with someone you don't know, like their barriers or what. So you can play around. And that movie, like looking back on it now and what you're saying, I could tell you guys were so comfortable, and it was perfectly cast. Like everything about it, like off the bat, like the film's tense from start to finish. Like it's an absolute masterpiece. Blood Punch is one of my favorite films. Like I'm so proud of that movie. So it should be. But yeah, Blood Punch is basically Groundhog Day with a psychopathic murderer. Like I loved it so much, and I couldn't recommend it enough. Like yeah, I love the scene with the pile of identical bodies. That was just
yeah, that was. We shot that in like a small mountain town called Idlewild, like maybe 2 hours out of LA. And we hired this log cabin. We didn't tell them we were going to be shooting a film there. And then he came back, and there was like blood stains on his carpet and stuff. And we were like, "Hey man," but he claimed the full insurance on our rental. So I think he got new carpets put in and everything. So, but we were like, "Oh yeah, we probably should like tell them next."
How do you think the end of the film was going to go with Starla to be trapped? Do you think Starla would have been trapped in another cycle with those gangsters at the end? Like, because they kind of written off the ending as like, guess what happens next? But I kind of feel like she got out the cycle. This is spoilers, by the way. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, this is my outside the box kind of thinking. I need an answer. So I know you're not the person to go to, but how do you think the film would have continued if the credits didn't roll right then?
Well, she knows how to break the cycle.
Yeah, so just to kill them all off, or yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, actually, how do you break the cycle? It's been a while since I've seen it. There's got to be one person left standing.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because they shot the bully guy, then you blew your head off, and then she's left.
Yes, so she's the last one, and that's how you get to the next day. Yeah. So she would know. So she would know how to break the curse, but I guess it depends on.
Well, she would have died right then and there because they got the gun. They would have like bang shoot, but then she'll see him tomorrow, like, "Hello, you're all stuck here together," and then she could ice them all off.
The sequel writes itself, dude.
Although it's been a time jump, so maybe like she's still there, but other people come down. Oh, you're back in an alternate dimension. I don't know.
Dude, actually, that's great. Yeah, because it will have been like 12 or 13 years since we shot it, so everyone's aged, and we've just been in the loop.
Yeah. Here we go. You got to do the time loop, man. I like to pitch sequel ideas on this show. I really do.
Good, yeah. We'll take it straight to Eddie and Maddie.
That'd be great. Another great film like this I love is called Triangle. It's a really crazy film. Have you seen that one?
I haven't. I've heard of that. I feel like people have recommended me that, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's about a boat. It's kind of got a different punchline at the end, but it's a same kind of thing with the day looping. Definitely think you should have the ending is insane. But yeah, can't recommend that enough. Triangle, throw it on your watch list for sure.
Yeah, I have heard.
Watch list intermission.
Yeah.
All right. Deathgasm was your next role. A 2015 horror comedy directed by Jason Howden. Again, another great film with a long list of awards and with a sequel currently in development. Tell me a little bit about how that role came about and some highlights working on that film.
I came home from America and I was pretty creatively dry. Believe it or not, hard to make it in LA. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So we've been in LA for 2 years. I was working at a cafe for $8 an hour, and I was like, don't know if I'm loving this. And so we came back, and then I think I must have auditioned maybe 6 months to a year after I got back. Because I think we must have auditioned in late 2013 to 2014. I first read the script. I was like, this is gross. This film's gross. And then I met Jason. I think I'd seen maybe a short film. I saw a short film that he had done, and I really liked that. I was just lucky enough to get offered the role. I was super stoked because after coming around and meeting Jason, I was like, actually, I think this could be really fun. And it was just a great role. So we shot that in West Auckland. It was a super low budget. Similar vibe, like lots of splatter, lots of gore. At one point, one of the blood splatter gags got like the compressor was wound up too hard. And so the blood like shot over the top of our set and like hit all this camera equipment, all this gear, like everything was covered in shit. You'd go home like sticky at the end of the day because you were just covered in blood. Again, it was like hard work, but it was a really amazing crew, super amazing cast. Everyone was like, when there's not much money involved, it means you have to be there because you want to be there. You know, it's not like good for your career. It's just because, oh, well, this looks like fun and I want to do it. And it's, you're doing it for other reasons. Yeah. I did not expect it to go as hard as it did and to like find as much of an audience. But Jason knew, obviously. It's kind of Jason's life story. He grew up in a small town. He was the only kid who liked metal, and then this older kid came along and was like cool, and they were kind of mates, but it was a weird friendship, like not super friendly all the time.
Right.
And Jason is really good at like writing in like humor, like it's just baked into the script, and like the rhythms of those jokes are just all there for you. All you have to do is say the lines. And I think it's also partly because it was so close to his experience as a kid. Like you were saying, it's hard to find people that are into metal to make a band with, and it's a subset, it's a small culture, especially in like New Zealand and Australia. And so I think there's probably a lot of metalheads out there who felt seen by it.
I think the film's definitely captured something unique when it comes to the community as well, like with all the fundraisers and everything, especially for the new film. It actually, most of the headlines I've seen for the film was about the fundraiser with the sex toys up for grabs, but they didn't realize it was like screen use props. So it's like, why are they giving out sex toys to make a film? That was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I was really similarly. I must be a cynic and a pessimist because I was like, I don't think this Kickstarter is going to get across the line. I don't know. Do we have any? And I was like so stoked that it got across the line. And I think maybe also when you're in New Zealand, there's a bit of, in my experience, there's like a bit of cultural cringe about our own creative output. So like, it's very rare for a Kiwi to talk about their favorite New Zealand film or it's kind of hard to uphold our own stuff. I feel like we are jaded about our own stuff for whatever reason. And I follow in the footsteps of my fellow Kiwis. And I was like, I don't really get it. And then it did. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we just shot that in Canada this year. That was, again, so much fun. And kind of similarly to Power Rangers and the Power Rangers convention, brought home to me that how many people saw the film and enjoyed it, and like how many people it affected in a positive way, because you don't really know that unless you leave the country and some stranger's like, hey, I saw your film, it was great.
Yeah.
And like, whoa, you just don't expect it to do that.
Definitely did. Deathgasm is definitely something I recommend to watch more than once. So that and Blood Punch, absolute masterpiece. And Jason's definitely done a great job of putting it all together. And that with the human, I also, you add to that as well, I assume, like you can have the right actor to play that. Yeah. How was it like returning to the world of Deathgasm for the sequel?
It was really strange. I also I love that it has been 10 years, so we all look kind of a little bit old and crusty now. I really love that. We all want to do another one in 20 years when we're all in a retirement home. Yeah, it was super strange. And then also, like, I think because the dynamics between the cast worked on the first one, it was just like slipping back in to an old shoe, it just felt right, like on set. And I was surprised at how quickly it all was just like, oh, of course, like everything just like works because we're all the same people. That was really fun in Canada. We had again, like super committed, amazing crew. We're in a place called Regina in Saskatchewan, which is on the prairies. And I'd never been. I don't know. I had no idea about this place. I didn't know much about Saskatchewan. My idea of Canada is like an icy tundra, the Arctic wasteland. And it was like really beautiful. We were there in summer, but it was just crazy flat. I think especially where Regina is, it's just like, I think they farm canola. And so they just go, you're just like chopping down. It's just like, you just drive for 2 hours. I mean, Australia has that, but New Zealand, we don't have that. There's mountains everywhere. And then if you're not at the mountain, you're at the beach or like, but there's just vast plains was just nuts, man.
Yeah, no, that's great. Is there any chance for a little bit of insight? I don't know, you could miss this as if it's a spoiler or a surprise thing, but is there any chance of Zach returning from the dead? James Blake?
Well. The question on everybody's lips. I think, I don't know how much I can say about that.
Yeah, I think you might not.
I saw James recently in Wellington, where he lives. I'll give you his address. And he is doing well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good enough for me. Thank you so much for the insight there. Looking forward to it. Do you know when we can expect that to hit the cinemas or on demand, whatever it's doing? Or I know it's just kind of wrapped recently, yeah?
I think they wanted out. They were talking like mid-year to do a festival run. So fingers crossed.
Right, awesome. Yeah, to me, like I feel like the film drew inspiration from Evil Dead with having the music to bring up the dead, but like crossed it with say the Pick of Destiny. But there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's definitely got some characters that I'd like to see more. And a lot of movies were coming out around that time with bands and curveballs. Some other great ones I'd place next to this one would be Metal Lords on Netflix. That one is really entertaining. Another one called Heavy Trip. That one's actually a foreign language one. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah. No, I saw Metal Lords and I was like, these guys were ripped off.
Exactly. Yeah, obviously the Pick of Destiny and of course one of my favorites at the moment, Lords of Chaos. Have you seen that one?
I feel like I know that one. Let me have a look.
It's based on the Norwegian black metal band Mayhem. It's got a Rory Culkin, Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin's brother, is a lead. It's got a great cast, man. Such an amazing film. Yeah.
Malta Skarsgård. Is that old mate Skarsgård's? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a packed cast, man. The performance is, I've watched this film like 100 times. Like I can't recommend it more.
Damn, we're going to check that out. That's
Just, it's got a lot of hate because they exaggerated the story a little bit, but the overall true story is kind of there. But like the performances, man, wow! Like it's like I ended up sitting on Google and Wikipedia for a good hour and a half after I watched it, just trying to fact check everything, and I was just like, this is insane what these guys went through. Like it's really cool.
Yeah. This is amazing. I can definitely check this out.
Yeah, the other one, Heavy Trip. Check that one out as well. It's foreign, but that's again these guys trying to put this band together. If you just get one with subtitles, but it's so worth the watch, that one.
Heavy Trip. This is how I get my recommendations.
Then you need to follow Movieland, man. That's all I do. I talk about movies all day.
Oh, Heavy Trip's Finnish.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's some amazing songs in that movie too, man. I'm pretty sure it's a one-man band who did all the songs for him too. But wow, I listen to their music all the time in the car. Well, that's one question I had for the end there, but I'll put it in here now. Are you actually a metal fan at all?
No, I wouldn't describe myself as a metal fan. I'm from Whangarei, which is a small town north of Auckland, and I feel like as part of growing up in a small town in New Zealand, you have to like go through a phase of like liking Metallica. Right. Liking Slipknot, Sepultura. So for like 2 or 3 years there, between the ages of like 14 or 16, me and my friends were pretty deeply into that. I don't have a lot of heavy metal on my playlist at the moment. I appreciate the artistry and the talent and stuff. Unfortunately not. I wish.
That's a little sad for Deathgasm true fans. They're like, come on, it's not real.
It's phony.
You guys are phony. phone. No. So what do you listen to? Do you want to share that?
I'm like the ultimate, what would you call this? I guess you call flaky music listener, which is not good. But I find it very hard to like get a whole album and just churn through an album. I've only like in the last like 4 to 5 years have been doing that. I really like funk stuff. I'm a drummer, so I like things that I'm like, whoa, that drumming's cool, man, and they sound funky. I actually find that question really hard to answer.
For those who haven't heard of the movie Deathgasm before, I usually quote, they've probably seen the ice cream meme about it before. I'm sure it would have been a lot of fun doing that scene, but did you realize it's a bit of a viral meme?
Yeah, people keep sending that to me, and I was like shocked. It was like years, like 5 years later, people were like, hey, you seen this meme? And I was like, yeah, it's been around for 5 years. Of course I've seen that meme. I scroll a lot, I've seen it. It's strange what things do become memes. And like, I'd be interested in like where that first, like who first found that and put that out. The first one I saw was My Music Tastes, also My Music Tastes, with me in full corpse paint next to Kimberly Crossman in like a white dress or something.
That scene, out of all the whole Deathgasm, like the whole speech as well, like, do you like metal? And she's like, it's all screaming. You're like, no, you relate to it. And I can't remember the whole statement. Forgive me to pitchfork me for not knowing the whole statement. But that's a very powerful scene. So I think that's what captured it. People probably posted that from that, and not me. Like, highly applaud for that one, buddy. Really good role, and overall, Deathgasm still a great film, even though it was gross for you to be a part of. So yeah, twisted question there. Is horror something you kind of want to strive away from? You want to go more into comedy?
I think the thing that's interesting about horror films, this is a broad generalization, but in my limited experience, I would say like, I feel like the acting can be, I don't know, you can push the edges a little bit more. It can be a little bit weirder, a little bit bigger. And I think that's maybe a fun thing or something a bit more interesting about horror. But look, if someone is paying me to act, I'll be there. I don't care if it's a rom-com.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't have any great aversions or desires in terms of genres that I want to do. As I say, as long as also the script, the script of the actor, but I'll be there.
Jason's a good one to work with. He also hit home with another film he wrote and directed featuring Daniel Radcliffe. In the action comedy Guns Akimbo, you played the role of Hadley. I'm pretty sure that was a brief experience, but how was it working on that role?
It was really cool. I was desperate to become Daniel Radcliffe's friend. So he probably found me a little bit weird because I was always on set being like, hey, mate, yeah, looking great again today. But Daniel Radcliffe was the hands down, and no one even really comes close. He was the nicest human I've ever met. He would come onto set. He knew everybody's name. He knew everybody's name. He knew a guy. Okay, I was sitting in the makeup truck, and there's a guy who's done like one day. There's a guy who's been on for one day. He was in like an action sequence, riding a motorbike. You can't see his face. He's wearing a helmet. Daniel Radcliffe comes up to him, addresses him by name, is like, hey, Tony, I saw some of the shots you did the other day. Really great stuff. Really appreciate you coming on board. You're really helping tell the story. I just want to say thanks. And the dude was like touched. Daniel Radcliffe's like, all good, like, all on you, mate, like just fucking the nicest, the nicest dude. You kind of have to go out of your way to be nice, or else you're just immediately told like the level of niceness has to be that much higher, or else you're like, he was okay. He was a little bit cold. Like he was fucking great. As you say, I was only on for a couple of days. It was super fun. An office gets shot up. I had to play dead. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it was awesome.
I was going to ask how it is working with Daniel, but obviously I was the first off the bat there. Oh, he could be a good guy. I mean, he seems like a really nice guy. I mean, there could be two sides of him, and he's just using his wizardry against us and making us think he's. But I assume he seems like he'd be a cool guy. Usually written off as just that Harry Potter kid, but I believe he's much more than just that. Like one of my favorite films of his at the moment is a drama romance called Horns. Have you seen that one?
No.
Yeah, he just suddenly starts growing horns when he's like breaking up with his girlfriend, and just hearing all these people screaming at him and stuff. Wow. Can't recommend that one enough. Horns.
He's done some really interesting films because I feel like he's rich enough, he can do whatever the fuck he wants now. He'll just do whatever the hell he wants. And so he just like, came to New Zealand to do Guns Akimbo. He just like picks interesting directors that he's like, I'll do that.
Yeah, he also shot a film in my hometown in Adelaide at the Adelaide jail for that film Escape from Pretoria. Have you heard of that one? Yeah.
Nah.
I heard he was in town, and I was just obviously there was like snapshots of him in like Adelaide Rundle Mall and stuff.
If he'd seen you, he definitely would have come up and said hi and asked that I knew, because that's the kind of guy.
He probably already knew my name as well. Like,
yeah, it's almost creepy.
Another one of his hidden gem. You wonder if you've seen this one, The Swiss Army Man, where he plays a dead body throughout the whole film.
No, I haven't seen that one. That was at a film festival when I was there, and so I could never see it because it was on at the same time.
Swiss Army Man's definitely cool, and the other actor supporting as well. I'm a big fan of his work, but I can't remember his name. He also played the Riddler in the new Batman as well.
Oh, Paul Dano.
That's the one. Yeah, big fan of his work. He's got another one, There Will Be Blood. Yeah, drink your milkshake.
Yeah, I'm an oil. Yeah, Paul Dano is a bit of a gangster.
Anyway, Guns Akimbo, this film is definitely one to watch. Sadly, it hit cinemas only weeks before the closure of cinemas due to the pandemic, which is terrible. So it went direct to on demand. Luckily, I was actually able to win a copy on Blu-ray, which is awesome. So I have that in my collection.
How did you win that?
I think it was Umbrella Entertainment. They were doing some Facebook contests to like say your favorite movie experience or something you're connected to a movie. And I share my experience to the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie because like I was geeked to see it when it came at the cinema, but I was too young, so I had to wait for it on the VHS. And I was at my video store every day hounding them for that standee. And I took a photo selfie with me like this to Umbrella, and they're like, "Yeah, there you go, Guns Akimbo."
Thanks to Mortal Kombat. Shout out to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Jason is a very gifted writer and director. Always looking forward to his productions and the world he creates. And I actually didn't know he did Guns Akimbo so recently, but it's a very, very entertaining neon kind of cyberpunk film. It's definitely one to watch. Any future roles you have in the works we can look forward to?
I'm about to play a conspiracy theorist in a TV show called The Vortex that's shooting in New Zealand. It's coming out. I'm excited about that. I don't know much about it. I only seen a tiny bit of the script for the audition. Conspiracy theories have become a big part of my life because my folks love conspiracy theories. So that probably helped me play the character a bit more. I have that intimate knowledge of many conspiracy theories. Oh, there's a Peter Pan production on at the moment, and one of the actors has to leave town for a bit unexpectedly. And so they called me up and said, do you want to try and learn his part? You got 5 days and then you go on Friday. So I'm in the middle of that at the moment. I'm going to go in for my first rehearsal tomorrow. I've been trying to learn lines. So I'm like one of the pirates, Starkey, the pirate. That's going to be nerve-wracking and interesting.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, definitely looking forward to anything you put out, man. You're always on my watch list, buddy, so don't worry about that. Cool. You kind of answered this before, but I'm going to re-ask the question again. Have you ever been to Australia or know too much about it?
Oh, yeah. Do the words "woy woy" mean anything? No, yeah,
it's actually.
That's where my auntie is. My auntie, woy woy, and my cousin.
I love how you're emphasizing woy woy as well, because me and my friends do the same thing.
I actually love, didn't Spike Milligan call it the world's only above ground cemetery because there's so many old people there? I don't know whether it was about woy woy or somewhere else, but I freaking love woy woy. I've been going there since I was like 7. So my grandpa was R.I.P. Phil Cawthorne. I have really fond memories. Australia always feels close to my heart because my mum's from there. I lived in Melbourne. I did a physical theatre training course there with a guy called John Bolton, where that was crazy. Like, he takes you through all these exercises. You do like clown exercises, you do like body exercise. And then in the final couple of weeks, he like puts a screen up on stage. So you go behind the screen and then you have a clown nose. He's like, okay, once you're behind the screen, put the clown nose on. And then the whole class is watching. There's like 20 of you. And he's like, okay, come out and make us laugh. And it's like super, just like some of the worst moments of my life, just like trying to make people laugh. And it's just dead silent. And you're like, this is horrible.
No. Yeah.
And also some of the greatest moments of my life, because when they do laugh and you find something, like, yay! So yeah, I've got a soft spot for Australia, and I would love to do some more work in Australia. That's a big dream of mine. So let's make it happen. Get writing. You'll be doing the sound production on the movie.
If you need the help, just shout. But yeah, they're actually doing a lot of films down here. They shot the new Mortal Kombat down in my hometown.
Oh,
actually, yeah, most of the stages. But then there's another place which is I always forget the name, Cuba Pedy. About an 8-hour drive into the middle of nowhere. They shot pitch black out there as with Vin Diesel as well. Actually, some of the spaceships are still idle out in the desert in Cuba Pedy. So, like, I've always wanted to just drive out there just to see them. But yeah, they're still there. They're deteriorating. But yeah, especially Adelaide. So you'd be close to home here if you move. That this is where the movies are starting to be filmed, and Queensland as well, I think. But yeah, that's finally picking it up.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome to hear. It's good to have some stuff going on for the industry down there.
Yeah, I always wanted to visit New Zealand. One of my favorite films is actually filmed there, The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox.
Such a good film, eh?
Yeah. Like, I was going to say, you haven't seen it, but I just wanted to visit all the locations for it. I think it's Littleton, Christchurch by my calculations it was filmed at.
I'm not from the South Island. I don't know much about it, but Christchurch is like quite like a based like heavily off like the English model of how you make a city. Like there's the river and here's the town square and there's the church and and like quite traditional and like white and like farming in Christchurch. And then Littleton's like this weird bohemian offset, like kind of feels a bit more like Wellington, like crazy hills looking over the harbour, and lots and lots of musicians come from Littleton. There's like kind of a mad scene. I forget his name. He's a really great New Zealand mission. Super cool place. Well,
here at Movieland, we love recommending movies. I just put it a heap on your watch list. I want you to put a couple on mine. Just please tell us 6 of your favorite movies that you recommend for us to watch.
Thelma, the most recent one. One of my favorite films from when I was like a teenager is Amelie. Probably my first maybe one of my first like surrealism films or like weird. Probably one of the first French films I saw as a 14-year-old, and I was like, this is crazy. And when you're in Whangarei, you're like, this guy gets it, man. And so that was really good. Amelie would be on there. There's another French film. I don't know if it's very good. The Lovers on the Ninth Bridge. This one actor is kind of amazing, and that's why I watched it. And so you're just kind of drawn in by his weird performance. But that is another one like quite abstract and a little bit odd. The Untouchables. Holy
Untouchables.
So long. Have you ever seen What About Bob? Is it What About Bob?
That's Bill Murray. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but it's Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss are great together. There's some great moments, and top Jim Carrey would probably be the original that I've always loved. Ace Ventura. What's the second one called? When Nature Calls.
Nature Calls. Yeah.
That's probably my favorite. Jim Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine's powerful. Like I'm right up there with you, man. Like Jim Carrey's like one of my all-time favorite actors. There's not a film of his I don't like. I'm pretty crazy on Batman Forever as well, because that came out when I was just Batman Returns, but Batman Forever was coming out just as I got into Batman, so the whole hype of it just.
That is sick. The whole aesthetic of that film is nuts. Like when you look back to now, you're like, oh, it's so camp, but it's amazing. I loved it. Was that George Clooney Batman?
No, that's Batman and Robin. This is Val Kilmer, Batman.
Kilmer? Have you seen Val? Have you seen the documentary?
No, I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I want to. I love all of his films, man.
Dude, that doc, I was weeping. That documentary is so good, and I had no idea about him at all. I just knew him from The Doors and Batman, and I was just like, holy! It's I highly recommend that. That's my last recommendation, is watch that documentary. I love documentaries. The Grizzly Man, definitely watch Grizzly Man. It's amazing video. What else? The other one by his mate, is it called Pet Cemetery? Nah, but it's about pet cemeteries.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what that's called. Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate.
We gotta keep throwing suggestions together online, man. Like we just never run out of things to watch, I don't think. Perfect. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Like, I wish you the best with Deathgasm 2 and all your future projects. Don't forget to be kind and rewind. Thank you so much.
Woohoo!